Hey, what's going on, people? What's going on, good people? I always got to start my lives off with some music, set the vibe right. Shout out to my boy Boyce. But welcome, guys. Welcome. Let me turn this down a little bit and do the proper introductions necessary. My name is Oshim Phoenix, and welcome to Blvck Roses. This is an interactive live discussion with men and women from all backgrounds, discussing where they discovered their understanding of love, sex, romance. This is an opportunity to understand the cultural development of men's beliefs on romantic and platonic relationships, and even on self-love, because that's been a topic lately. How do men practice self-love? And I'm not talking about going to the bar. I'm not talking about escapism. I'm talking about that healthy self-love. So the intention of Blvck Roses aims to create a raw experience for greater insight into the hearts of men and how it affects our presence in society at large. They think we cold, man. They think the brothers are cold out here. And this show is setting the record straight. And it's not just my voice. I'm bringing on a lot of brothers that I know that are doing phenomenal things, that have opinions. Some of those opinions you are going to agree with. Some of those opinions you are not going to agree with. But that's the beautiful thing about being a grown-ass adult. All right? But we're going to get into it today, and we have some amazing guests. So you guys come on in, man. Come on in. I can't wait to see the comments that pop up because we are going in. We have a wide range of people on this show, and I handpicked these people because I respect their opinions. So I'm going to bring them in one at a time, and we are going to start introductions. So the first person that I want to bring in is a young lady by the name of TK Divine. So TK Divine, come on in the room. Oh man, you got the swag right for the night.
I had to come with the rose-colored glasses with the Blvck Roses.
I mean, I can't look. I can't even stunt. I was gonna wear some sunglasses tonight, but I'm glad I didn't because I would have got showed up. How you doing tonight?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm doing well. It's a nice, beautiful day out here in the West Coast, so we out here enjoying this rainy weather out here.
Yeah, I saw the backdrop and I was like, oh, you live at large, and then I saw it move and I was like, okay, yeah, that's what that is. It's all good. It's all good. It's fabulous. Yeah. TK, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and make this personal real. So yeah, I go by TK Divine. Many people follow me as Tahiri Divine on my social media sites. I'm a sacred facilitator, meaning I hold sacred circles for women to help them attune with their personal cycles and get spiritually attuned in alignment with their life purpose and goals. So I'm just really happy to be here, and thank you for the invite to share, learn, and listen.
Man, we can't wait to get your opinion, and I'm just excited to have you on. We've been building inside the Rebel Camp group, so I'm excited to make this happen. So the next up is my brother, Courtney Grange. Hey. Take yourself off.
I come on mute so I can do this the right way. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen, dogs and cats, girls and boys, everybody in between.
I want to blow you up. Hold on. Let me do Courtney Grange, a.k.a. Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood.
Listen, I am trying my best to raise a little human the right way, so I will take that moniker proudly.
So Courtney, man, you know, we've been brothers for a while. We've been on camping trips, man. We done built on a deeper level, especially about sex, love, and romance, woman, just divine masculinity, divine femininity. But please let the people know who you are. Let's get these introductions right.
Awesome. Well, peace and love again. I am Courtney Grange. You can find me at Courtney Grange on all my social media. I'm a father, a spiritualist, a techie, a black nerd. I call myself a blurred, and involved in all things wellness. And so that's everything from spiritual development, meditation, yoga, mindfulness, and how we can bridge all the gaps in between ourselves through the power of connectivity. So I am happy to be here, good brother. Excited to have these conversations. And I love the fact that you don't send us the questions in advance. So I am preparing my chakras to receive and immediately give you what you need.
Hey, we gonna tap into all the chakras tonight.
There it is.
I love it. I love it, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We have two more guests, but we are going to bring on in Kiani Dennis.
Hello, good evening, greetings, blessings. How is everyone?
You know, I was so intentional about the flyness that I picked for this panel. Everybody's drip is just amazing tonight. So Kiani, am I saying the name right? Kiani.
Perfectly.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. You look like you have your crown chakra open tonight. Like it's about to go down. You're about to download the information and share it with us. So Kiani, please tell us who you are. Give us a little bit of background.
Yeah, no, this is one of the things that is most difficult for me. But because titles are just weird, right? But by trade and by work, I'm a wellness professional, personal trainer, which when I started that, and of course, most of my clients being women and especially mothers, seeing how much of that had nothing to do with the physicality, the biology of who we are, and more so the behavioral, the psychological of who we are. Right? Because we didn't get to the place where we needed help with our weight and stuff because everything was okay, so understanding that psychological connection, it just caused me to delve into wellness more expansively. I'm a sacred woman and family and wellness ambassador. I'm a priestess presence initiate. So just, trying to make sure that in our communities, especially the at-risk communities, we have the access to wellness from the mind, body, and spirit. So that just takes me into a million things that I do. I run wellness retreats, and my next one will be in Morocco, etc. But at the end of the day, my most important role is not mom, is not wife, it is remembering who I am. And so that is who I am right now. I'm remembering who I am, who I have been in all these lives, and who I am going forward. So that's what I'm truly excited about right now.
I love it. You didn't see me snapping. Listen, let's get it. Very powerful, very powerful. And thank you for sharing. We have one more individual, brother Will Dennis. Come on in, bro.
What up? What up? What up? No relation, I think.
What's going on, my dude?
Nothing much, man. Quarantining and living and just trying to enjoy life.
I hear you, man.
Through all the fog, man.
Hey, listen, it looks like you're enjoying life a lot, newly engaged. And so I want you to, I'm not going to, tell you who you are. I want you to share with us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So to be brief, my 9 to 5, I'm a project manager. I'm an IT aficionado. I'm a community engager. I'm a mentor. I'm someone who loves giving back to my community. I'm also an entrepreneur. I own my own apparel company, and I'm also a career consultant. So I help with resumes, cover letters, helping my people get that bag. So that's all I'll say for now.
Excellent, excellent. All right, let's get this party started, ladies and gentlemen. I love how everybody in some way does energy work, right? So, you guys are, aligned, let's say. And, the topic of Blvck Roses is to really find out where men learned about love, but we're including women in this conversation because, you know, we want to make sure that the dialogue is balanced and you guys have a chance to express your opinions. So, but I do want to start off with the brothers tonight, and I want to talk about love. Like, we ain't this. Look, this is not goddamn the Montel Williams show. All right, I'm not going to be bowing down and be like, "Tell me how you feel about love." No, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to have having sex, intimacy, the whole 9 yards. But to start things off on the right foot, Brother Courtney, I want you to tell us what your idea of romantic love means.
See, I knew you were going to do this.
Speak from the heart, brother.
Okay. For me, man, romantic love. Romantic love is a very raw and visceral state of understanding. It means animalistic attraction, but in human form. So for those of us that are humans, it should be everybody on here, we have the blessing of cognition, which puts us above other primates. And so that piece right there is what changes the dynamic of love, romantic love, as we see it from our perspective, because our emotions get mixed with our logic. And that creates what we call perception, right? How we see the world, how we show up in the world. And for me, that's the place where romantic love sits. It's in the place of a more raw, visceral state of understanding of an attraction to another human being. I'll keep it a human being just because that's too much to go into romantic love of other things. But romantic love of another human being starts there. Where it goes from there is a whole nother conversation. But the romantic love, I would say, in my opinion, starts there simply because it is raw, it's visceral, it's primal in that sense. And it's really challenging to be controlled, right? In terms of how it makes us feel, how it makes us interact with other people. So yeah, I stop it there because you got me early on that one.
Yeah, he got you.
Oops, sorry, I was muted. So I want to be very clear. Thank you. You was using a lot of power words right there, like visceral and raw. Like, yeah, this really, I love it. All puns intended. But Courtney, I just want to be clear. You're the single brother in the group.
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to get that out the way. I'm very intentional about what I chose. Okay, TK, let's talk because I like valiant, man, woman. I like valiant. What is your definition of romantic love? What does romantic love mean to you?
Okay, yeah. Romantic love to me is more, it's a level of infatuation, but more so in tune with the connection that you may feel with the person. It can be one-sided. I want to be clear about that, but it can also be mutual, and it's really more so of the bonding between hearts and souls and minds. That's what I like to think romantic love. It's the theater, it's the art, it's the fun stuff that you do with a person that makes you bond with them and gets those endorphins going.
Nice, short and sweet. Okay, another good word, endorphins. I love it tonight. I love it. So my brother Will, the engaged guy in the group.
Hey.
All right, so you got that new love. You got that.
I got the new romantic love.
You got that. Like, I just got the sneakers from Foot Locker. Smell the sneakers. Lick the soul. Let's do it. All right. What does romantic love mean to you?
Well, using that context of a sneaker, romantic love to me means that the smell of that new sneaker doesn't go away. And it's one of those situations where as it starts to go away, you try to find ways to make it work. It's an intense interaction that to me involves the idealization of the other within somewhat of an erotic context with the expectation of enduring for some time in the future. So I love this question because there's definitely a difference between love and romantic love. And I feel like romantic love is that intense loving of someone where you want to extend that for years, months, centuries, not centuries, but years and decades, et cetera.
And just to be in your business, how long have you been engaged?
I've been engaged for 11 months.
Okay, beautiful, man. Beautiful. Congratulations. And we are going to come back to you because the topic of tonight is how a man knows he has the one. How does a man know he's met the one? Excuse me. So we're going to come back to you on that. But I want to get to Kiani. Same question. What does romantic love mean to you? Break it down, sis.
So I don't differentiate love. I think love is a vibration. I think romance is something that we add to love. This is really weird because I'm just looking at myself. I can't see any of you guys. So when we talk about the romance aspect, then I do believe, okay, that is where the carnal attraction comes from. That is where the commitment comes from. That is where the dedication comes from. But love itself is just a vibration to me. It is the highest vibration. Like I compare it to fear. It is the only vibration that can eradicate fear. When we fear things, we don't really categorize fear, right? So I don't categorize love. I categorize the intention of the connection to the person and where we're going from there. So
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. Beautiful. Yeah, there are many different types of love that exist. You know, romantic just happens to be one of them. And that is a connection. And Will, just going back to you, I said I would go to you because the topic of tonight is how does a man know he's met the one? So in a classic sense, right? I don't really like rules. I hate rules, especially when it comes to love, sex, and romance. But classically, the man courts the woman. There is a process. There's dating. There's love. There's passion. There's sex. There's all that good stuff. How did you know you met the one? When you got down on, like, not even before you got down on bended knee, how did you know that this woman was the one? And I want you to talk about, you know, your personal, standards that you have for yourself when you were looking for a partner.
Man, how did I know that she was the one? Well, just it's one of those situations where you find out someone is the one by understanding what you don't want, and then finding someone that, I hate to be cliche, but is the yin to your yang, right? I knew she was the one because she is again, she's the yin to my yang. She's able to be that completeness to my puzzle. I knew she was the one based on how my relationships were in the past and what I could have done better. And I've taken that and learned from that, and I was able to apply it here. She's the one because she allows me to be myself, especially in a society where men are told not to be. We're not expected to show emotion. Right. We're not expected to have our hearts on our sleeve. And I feel like I can do that around her without being judged, without being seen as weak, without being seen as less than. And we both uplift each other. We both have that mantra that a shared joy is a double joy and a shared sorrow is a half sorrow. And in my prior relationships, it didn't feel that way. It felt like if I was happy, if she wasn't going through the same thing in her life, she couldn't share my happiness because she was still unhappy with things that was going on in her life. So it was like, all right, yeah, you got to raise me while I'm struggling. But it's not like, yo, I'm happy for you because it's still going to manifest itself upon me, or I can use that to motivate me. And that's what I love about Sydney. That's my fiance, that we're a team. And as a team, we have to uplift each other through any situation. And throughout all what we've been through prior to the engagement, that's when I knew that this is someone that I can ride or die with. I can ride this to the wheels fall off, and we still have spare tires.
And beautiful. Now, who pursued who? Was this a traditional courting situation? I even hate the word traditional, but was it more of a traditional courting situation? Did you see her and you was like, damn, let me hit her up? Did you slide in some DMs? Did you meet her in a mutual setting? Because there's somebody on here that's talking shit. Her name is Cynthia, and she says there's no more courtship. It's sad, truly. Hold up, sis. Let's go there now, because I disagree with you. Will, what's up? Don't make me look.
So from a We met on a dating app.
Okay.
And it's crazy because after my last relationship, I tried dating apps and they didn't really work for me. So I just chilled, and I thought to myself, all right, I'll probably meet the one, organically at a bar, at an event, at a speaking engagement. But then I went to my line brother's wedding, and his best man told me about this app called Coffee Meets Bagel. And I said, okay, I'll give this one a shot. And we connected through there. And it was perfect for me because we connected while I was at work, which means she worked nearby. So our dates weren't the only just a dress up date night. We were going on lunches every 2-3 days a week. So we got a chance to know each other, talk through our personal and professional goals and what we're going through, and we can vent to each other about that. So that's really how we met, was through dating app. Coffee Meets Bagel is one of those apps where I'm sure you guys have probably been on dating apps where the chat can just extend for so long and no one shoots their shot, or no one gives their number. So you're just talking on the app for months and months. But Coffee Meets Bagel, the chat actually expires. It expires in a week. So after a week, if you don't exchange numbers, the chat just dies. And
you shoot your shot.
Yeah, you got to say, someone has to say, all right, yo, I love what's going on here. Here's my number. Let's talk further.
This message will this message will explode or whatever that's saying.
It will self-detonate, you know what I mean? But that's one thing I liked about it, right? Because it's like you need to move on to a phone conversation, because that would lead to moving on to in person. Everyone is comfortable behind their phones, behind texting, behind an app, but to have a physical phone conversation or meet them in person, that's when you can really understand a person, because we all understand internet thugs, right? We all understand people are comfortable behind a screen, but until you meet them, it's like you're the same one popping all this stuff on social media, but you're very timid, like all bark and no bite. So yeah, that's pretty much how we met. We met on the app. We tried to figure out our first date, and unfortunately, I had another engagement, so I had to reschedule our first date. And I asked her if she could come. It was actually a happy hour I was hosting, and she came, and she was going to stay for like 10 minutes, and she was waiting for a friend to come get her to go out to dinner, and the friend couldn't make it. So that was my opportunity to say, okay, after this happy hour, let's go have dinner. So that was like our first unofficial date. And we went to a bar in Brooklyn, and we closed it out. Like, we were there until pretty late, and that's how it started. And it was organic. There was no being fake. There was no being phony. Like how I was back in 2017 is how I am now. I probably weigh a little different or things of that nature, but I'm still the same person, and she is the same person as well. And it allowed us to grow together. We've been with each other through new jobs, new situations, and just seeing that growth is amazing to me. Like, it's a breath of fresh air.
Amazing, bro. That's an amazing story, man. I love it, but you shot your shot. I like it. I want to go to TK. TK, I got questions. I promise there's not wine in this coffee cup, but we grown out here. So TK, are you single? Okay, so
I'm single, yes. Well, in the traditional sense,
in the energy sense, yes, I got it. You're never alone, right? Check this out. How does a single woman like you, who is very who understands energy, and which sometimes can be like a gift and a curse sometimes, like when you can see somebody's energy before they even walk through the door, you're like, oh Lord, here it goes. How does a single woman right now in 2020, we're closing out 2020, want to be courted by a man, or do you want to be courted? What is the process that you like when it comes to entering into romantic courtships?
Okay, since you're asking.
So how do you want to be courted? How do you want to be courted, single woman?
Yeah. Well, myself personally, I'm traditional in the sense that I prefer to meet people organically out in the open, but I know that COVID out here got us all inside. But one thing that I like people who are conversationalists. So if I'm out and about, don't be afraid to say hi. I'm not one of those people who throw people off, because I know some women out here got they bitch face on. I get it, you know, so they're not approachable. But for me, I prefer to be courted. I love going out. I don't like to do the typical dinner movie. That's fun, but I'm an adventurous type of person. Like, no, we gonna be pottery, clay making. We about to go fencing. I took an archery class. You coming?
Okay.
I like people who are active and have an active life outside of a relationship. I like the people who actually have things going on outside of, hey, what's up with you today? I'm like, dang, you don't got nothing to do tomorrow. But yeah, so that's my thing. But I think for a lot of women, single women, they really do want to be courted. I think what it is that people have an idea of what it's supposed to look like based off what we've seen in media, maybe even what we've seen our parents, grandparents, etc. have done, instead of really establishing for yourself, like, hey, what is it that you truly want? Because not everybody wants to dress up and go out to dinner. Not everybody wants to do these extravagant things, although you want to sprinkle some of that out in there too. But I think what is women really want creativity. They want something outside of just dinner and a movie. Where's something I can see your personality? Let's do an escape room, you know, trying something different. I think what 2020 has taught a lot of people is to really go inside with yourself and find out what is it that you truly desire at your core. And even probably figure out that, you know what, the things I've been doing is not even what I truly desire, or the way I've been doing it is not getting me my desired results. So I really see 2021 and beyond being people exploring different avenues of how to get to know a person.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Courtney, I actually want to extend that question to you, but in a male sense, right? Because, you know, we're living in some new times now. Women are stepping their game up. You know, look, man, if I give you a snapshot of my inbox, women are terrible at shooting their shot. You know how women shoot their shot?
Yo.
You know how women shoot their shot on Facebook? They go, hey.
Liking the picture.
They go, hey. Like that's it. And you're,
that's it.
oh, okay. I can read between the lines of what that means. Beautiful sister. Like, how
it depends on the number of Y's after the hey. Like, if it's 4 or more, that might mean like, hey.
Right. No, I get it. And you know, Courtney, you're a pretty social brother, man. Like, do you like to be the one to court, or do you like to be courted?
So I honestly heavily believe in a value for value exchange. So while I am single, I have been married previously. And I say that my life at this point is really marriage 2.0 because I'm a co-parent. And so even though we are not romantically partnered in that sense, we are absolutely still partnered into infinity because we raised this young human. And so that experience has taught me a lot about what's called platonic intimacy, right? The ability to interact with the opposite of yourself and truly care about a person, want to value that person and invest in that person simply because that person does the exact same for you. So that value for exchange for me is 100% the baseline. Now, if I shoot my shot first or she shoots her shot first, it really doesn't matter to me. I can say through my experience in dating that the times that I have shot my shot first, the interactions have gone further than the times when a woman has shot her shot first. And I honestly just attribute that to the fact that as a man, I was reared to shoot my shot. And then as a man who's grown and discovered himself, I've reared myself to pay attention. And so if I am shooting my shot, I'm already 70% sure that this is the type of individual that I could see myself with. And I know because I've watched her in a sense, right? Like from a healthy distance, paid attention to what's going on with her. And I think that's a lot of the difference nowadays when we talk about shooting our shot. Like, you don't just go into the gym, pick up a basketball and just chuck that thing. Like, you actually want to practice first. Before you get into a game and shoot the shot, those who are required to take the winning shot in the game, it's because they're the most skilled at making sure that they can get that shot up. They have the confidence to do it, but mostly they've paid attention. And that's what it is for me. So when I shoot my shot, I do like to court. If you were asking, like, personally, what's my preference? I do prefer that because, again, like I said, my success rate has been better when I shoot my shot. But at the same time, I will say it doesn't make a difference to me. If a woman approaches me with a value for value exchange and truly is interested in getting to know me, the rest will take care of itself.
So she got to put a little bit more meat on that. Hey, like it got to be like, hey, comma, I saw you and thought you were cute. Blah 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 blah. Right.
There you go. Speak about what you want to be about.
Now we cooking with grease. So Kiani, as the married woman in the group, and what I don't want to do is put you in a box, right? Because I've been married before, and when you're married, people treat you really different when it comes to these conversations. And it's really awkward because you're like, no, I have an opinion on that thing, right? So let's talk about courting. I have a thing, right? The number one mistake I made when I was not courting. You're muted, by the way. I can't hear you.
Just add, just because I wanted to give my experience really quick as far as the shooting shot. I generally don't engage unless I make the first move. I generally feel like as a goddess, as a divine being, the divine feminine, that I do the choosing.
Let's go.
As women, as women, TK, beautiful. And I also wanted to apologize because whenever I enter a space and there's another goddess, I need to honor you. So goddess, I see you. But women, we are inundated with men's approach daily. That is just a reality. And so for me, I choose who to allow into the realm of my reality. Now from there, yes, you will court, and we will have an even exchange, but I choose. And it's worked for me, that is just what worked for me. And, that is how my husband ended up having to deal with me for so long. So I just wanted to, that is my opinion.
I think I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful because there's nothing more attractive than a woman who knows what she wants, right? Instead of me guessing, right? You know what you want. You're familiar with what kind of energy that you want in your space, and that's very comforting for me. So now I know how to EQ, right? I know how to EQ my own energy. So I appreciate that. I absolutely do. And I think for a lot of men, they really don't know how to deal with a goddess. So I want to put that out there because they haven't found the God within, and this is why we're having these conversations to get you to know yourself on a deeper level. And getting to know yourself on a deeper level definitely starts with self-love. Because if you love yourself, you will educate yourself deeper about who you are and what you are and where you are. But thank you guys. Thank you for that. But yes, as far as like dating apps, etc., for an old soul like me, dating apps have always I've always felt a little funny about dating apps because it almost feels like a job interview to a way. So it didn't really necessarily resonate with me. But to go to, let's pick one of these fine single people here. TK, how do you feel about dating apps? Have you ever been on one, and what was your experience with it?
I've never been on a dating app, so I can't even say how that works. But I've had friends who's been on dating apps. They haven't had success with it. I think, like you're saying, I think it does take, to me, I think it takes the intimacy out of it because it's like, my opinion, I think it takes the intimacy out of it because it's like you can swipe, you can go through, you read profiles, you keep it moving, and people are trying to, like, you're selling yourself. And I feel like you're putting an advertisement. I work in property management, so I'm like, you're putting an advertisement out as if you're trying to sell a house or something versus really just kind of saying who you are. And then from my experiences with my friends, it seems like a lot of people or the type of guys they were attracting were just really looking for hookups. So that's why I've never been interested.
Courtney, how about you?
All right, so I'm gonna preface this like I said earlier. I am a techie. I am a Black nerd, so I embrace all forms of communication and technology, even ancient technologies. And so for me, yes, I've run the gambit when it comes to dating apps. But mostly my experience with them has been really just trying to figure out the algorithms of why they put certain people in front of one another, because that's the part that allows you to get through the smoke screen of just swiping right and left and looking at certain profiles, and realizing that there is actually an art to how they put profiles in front of one another, which can increase your propensity to actually find someone who is aligned to you. Even down to the types of words you use in your profiles. It's the same as building a website where you've got SEO or keyword hits. A lot of what they do to ensure or put matches in front of one another is based on the word selections and terminology that you may be using in your words. And so I've experienced it in a lot of different ways. I've enjoyed my experiences on dating apps. They do absolutely come in handy in a time like, quarantine, where you just can't interact in the same ways. But at the same time, I do enjoy old school connection. I'm an old soul at heart. I enjoy friendships that are fruitful and long and allow you to learn about a person for a period of time before you ever interact with them. And so to the goddess's point that she made earlier around women or the goddess owning that space, I really do want to shout that out, because I very much feel that while men should lead, women own the access to leadership. And if a man is truly courting a woman in the right way, he'll create an environment around her where she will see him, begin to choose him before she even notices it. And it's a very divine concept that goes into that, because the goddess has the energy that is all encompassing, but the god has the energy of specificity and the ability to see all that's going around and start to create the environments. And so for me, that's another interesting aspect of dating apps, is because if you do access your God energy, you love yourself, you literally just draw the energies to you from the algorithms, and you can kind of pick from that perspective, because all of these women have already chosen you. So it's an interesting dynamic that happens there. But like I said, I've enjoyed it. But my preference would be old school, traditional, meeting someone, building a friendship, and then going from there.
Love it, man. Love it. Thank you.
Can I add something real quick, if you don't mind, if I interject?
Go ahead, Tika.
Yeah, because I think it kind of depends on your social life too. Because I'm a super social person, so I've always found ways to be in different areas to meet different people. So I always try to tell women, you can't meet anybody if you just go to work and go home. You got to really be out. You got to really be, and out means just being in your owning your space, owning what you do. So if you love to hike, if you love to do these different things, put yourself in groups and around people. And typically, more from my experience, I've always meet people or somebody like, I know somebody that you might like. And that really opens up your network and your social network and your dating expansion. And you could meet all types of people instead of just being very singular, work, home.
I love it. Yeah, the thing about, for me, is with dating is the most unattractive thing to me is when a person doesn't have their own life and they're waiting to meet someone so they can have a life and be whole, right? I kind of want you to be whole on your own before I meet you, and I want to come to a situation where I can complement you and we just complement each other's energy. So I think that definitely is something that has to do with self-love. When you see a woman or a man loving themselves unconditionally in their fullness, just not needing of anything, it's so attractive. And it does draw people in, because people are curious, like, how does this person do it? How is this person so happy and joyful? And they rely on themselves for that joy and that happiness. So my next question actually has to do with self-love, maintaining self-love. So Kiani, how long have you been married?
I have been married for 8 years.
Okay. So I have a question for you about self-love, right? Just staying on this subject. How do you maintain your individuality in your marriage, one, but also come together to have that union with your partner that's healthy?
Yeah. So one, as a wellness professional, I refuse to preach what I don't practice. But one, just have a very supportive husband. So, that he is so supportive. And I've always been kind of like the outlier since a small child. So really cultivating and growing in who I am is a priority for me. It is a priority that I teach my children, that whoever you are, I don't care who you are. not, I like, be who you are, accept who you are unapologetically, very loudly if you must, because that is your truth. So I'm at a point in my life where it's almost impossible to not walk in my truth. And he's just and I offer him that same space. I think that is the actual meal ticket to that, is that we create space for each other to grow in whatever capacity we need to. And so, I mean, that's just, I thank the gods in the universe and the God in me for attracting that type of person, but he is just very supportive. And I think, for anybody, when you see that the things that you're going to need in a relationship are not evident, do not compromise. I remember from one of our first dates, I said I was going to be the ugliest part of me that I could be early on, because I need someone who's okay with that. And so don't compromise. If it's a basic need, and support in a relationship is a basic need, people, if it's a red flag, keep going.
Right. So it's that whole thing of honoring your truth.
Oh, goodness. You have to. You have to. And I mean, we can go into that chakra work, but that needs to be balanced. But, self-love, honoring your truth, showing up early. I really just believe in showing up early as who you are. And unfortunately, and the reason why it's so important for me with my children, is because so many of us don't even know who we are, because we haven't been given the space to delve into that. We've just been given these parameters and these rules. And so for me, when I talk to my children, I didn't realize what I was doing was having them manifest who they want to be. So I asked them, so when you see yourself 15 years from now and you're coming home from work, what does your house look like? What does it smell like? What are you cooking? Like, who are you? Not what, I never asked, what is your job? What brings you joy? And I think, so I have to have that space for myself, and I don't compromise it. And so my husband, he felt that very early on. So
I love it. So yeah, it's about not strangling each other's growth, because when you haven't dealt with, let's say, your childhood traumas or things from the past, they will show up in your romantic relationships. And now we are relying on our partners to be our therapists, right? And when they don't show up or don't know how to show up for us, we get angry and we pull them down to our level, or at least try to pull them down to a level. So I think somebody said transparency, and I think that I know that in any relationship, that is like a number one way to, allow yourself to have space, is transparency. Like, look, today I'm not feeling it. I need time away from the kids and you. I'm going to go do me, have a self-love day, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of women especially are afraid to say that, because they don't want to look like bad mothers, or they don't want to look like a partner that doesn't support their family or their husband. So I appreciate that. Spoken like a true goddess. I just want to read one comment from Nicole L. Lorenzetti. She says, masculine energy is a container for the feminine. If she can't flow in her truth, it will never work. That is beautifully stated. Completely agree there. So we got work to do, guys. We got work to do. There's a lot of unlearning and learning to do as men, and how we show up in romantic relationships. Because I always say this, men were taught to do three things. And we don't do a lot of these things right, but it's because of these old societal rules. Protect, provide, and absorb. Protect, provide, and absorb. We're taught those three things. And the most important to me to address is the absorb part, because that absorb part is where you hold in all of those emotions and you don't know how to express yourself, because you were taught that, nah, that's men, that's soft. Nah, crying is weak, or expressing yourself, or being transparent, or, self-love is, being selfish. Put this person first, put that person first. So I think that we're coming into a new time where men are unpacking unpacking a lot of that trauma and doing for self so they can do for others. So thank you. You said a mouthful, Kiani: self-love, transparency, etc. I do want to take it to Will, as far as you about to jump that broom, my brother. So have you been doing your what do you feel? And I guess I actually had this question for somebody else, but the rules of marriage, right? We have these societal rules, like this very traditional way we think about marriage. How are you going to run your marriage and your household as a man?
Well, the first thing is, not giving a fuck. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on this, about what society thinks. Society isn't running this marriage. Me and Sydney are running this marriage. So living in the now and understanding that I don't care what someone on the outside thinks. They're not in the house with us. They're not paying our bills. What they do don't make us eat, shit, and sleep. And making sure that what we're doing is what we want to do, and not what anyone else wants us to do. Additionally, it's living in the now, not focusing on the future, not focusing on the past, focusing on being ever present in every situation. I think sometimes relationships fail because of that failure to live in the now, of that, oh, this happened in my past relationship and now it's happened in this relationship, so that red flag comes. But like, no, it can be two entirely different situations. And if you can live in the present and open your eyes and just be focused on what's going on, as opposed to thinking about what's going to happen or what has happened, you can move differently, right? It's like being your own quarterback, right? Like a quarterback, if they get sacked on one play, the next play they're not thinking about, oh, I just got sacked. They're still going to move left, move right to try to push the ball forward. And as a marriage, you have to keep trying to push the ball forward, however far it can go. So, so is that it's, being able to talk, even in arguments, being able to talk to each other and not at each other. We are human beings, and there will be times where, there will be disagreements, but learning how to argue is something that, a lot of people don't know how to do. People think that arguing is, having the loudest voice, and that's not. I always tell people, don't raise your voice, improve your argument. So just talking civilly as people, like, you can argue, you can fight, but at the end of the day, if you're married to them, you still have to lay down next to them, right? And you don't want to lay down next to someone that you just screamed at, right? That's not healthy. So making sure that you can have that healthy dialogue with that person, so that whatever situation that can arise, you'll get through it. So those are a couple. I just want to be brief. I don't want to. I can speak for hours on this. So,
my brother, thank you. You said a mouthful. And I kind of want to move this conversation to my favorite topic, sex. So yes, let's talk about sex. Courtney. Hold on, Courtney. I'm gonna get to you. I want to go to TK. As far as sex is concerned, let's talk turn-ons. What gets woman, you guys are just oh my gosh, you're amazing. What would this world be? There would be no world without you. There would be no universe without you. As far as sexual attraction, let's talk sexual attraction in a man. What are some things that turn you on sexually as a single woman? When you got your eyes on someone.
Okay, if I'm being the huntress, what sparked my interest in someone as far as turns me on, wants me to get to know this person, or I like mystery. I like people who are mysterious. I prefer somebody who's in the background, like, who's this person? That is what I prefer. So confidence is definitely a key. Definitely someone who is sure of themselves, not just confidence. So somebody sure of themselves and not in the spotlight. That's my thing. Get the all in.
Okay, and from there you just unravel the mystery.
Exactly.
Okay, that's why they call you Mr. Vine. Courtney Grange on the brain. What's up, brother? And I want you to be as honest as possible. And I want to talk physical, all of it. What turns you on sexually about a woman? We could talk mental, physical, whatever. Spirit.
Yeah. So I would say for me at this point, the turn on is a fluid conversation because it is very different for each woman. I am turned on by a woman who is at the center of herself. And so that sexuality that exudes from finding your center is the first part. But then from there, what that looks like, right? What it sounds like, what it smells like, what it tastes like sometimes, is the part that starts to really grab me. And so first of all, there's tons of ways to exude sexuality, whether you're using your body, your words, your mind, or your space, right? Because you can create space, and in that space, that mystery can be sexy as well. And I love all of those things in a woman. But if those things are not coming from her core, it's very visible to me at this point. And so if a woman is using her body as her sexuality, but she's not doing that because that's core to who she is, it's not as attractive. If it is core and she's tapped into that part specifically of the goddess that is about the mystery and the fluidity, the dance, so to speak, of the physical form, then it is unbelievably attractive. And I don't care what size, shape. I would say I go from 8 to 80, crippled to crazy when it comes from that perspective, because it is beautiful. It is genuinely erotic to me to see a woman embrace her core. So I would say that. I mean, I can get more specific with like finite details, but that comes once that package has been gift wrapped by her own hands.
Well said, Brother Grange. I know your DMs are probably going to be a little lit out. And we welcome it. We welcome it. You know, we're in times of COVID.
Bring on the energy.
This is the safest way. So, Kiani, sending this question over to you. Same question. What is something that turns you on from a sexual standpoint? What is that sexual, that thing that drives your sexual attraction for you towards another person?
Definitely, it's so funny because I'm glad now to be in this space. We've been addressing each other as goddess, for a while now, but I love for the men to know you are gods, right? So for the man that knows that he is the god, like that is straight up eternal. A man that is first of all, sapiosexual. Like I literally would love to sit and talk metaphysics and quantum physics with someone. Like that does it for me. But from what you put into your body, from how you train your body, for like those type of things to me are what get me. I love just, I don't know. I think for me, again, like it's energy. It's energy for me. Like pretty much everything is energy. Like from what I put in my mouth to eat for nutrition is energy.
Oh, hold up. Okay, hold up.
So like, I only eat live foods because of energy. So for me, attraction is probably more based in that than, but yeah, I definitely like strong men, but not overbearing. Strong. I like people in a healing space that have done their work, like doing the work, like, yeah.
And I think that's the next level for a lot of men. There's a brother on here who just joined the Rebel Camp. His name is Ramon. And I'm shouting you out, Ramon. And I don't know you personally, but this is a guy who's come into the group and said, I'm taking accountability for who I was, and I want to be better, and I'm here to learn. And I think a lot of men need to be given that space. The way that I was raised like a pit bull. I was raised to be a savage. I wasn't raised to be loving, compassionate. I wasn't raised to, know what the 42 laws of Ma'at are and Kemet and all that. I wasn't taught this stuff by anyone. I was only taught to, like I said, provide, protect, and absorb. But as you know, when you fill a sponge up, it starts overflowing. You got to wring that thing out. And I started to feel, that I hit a certain plateau in my life, and I had to seek that knowledge of self. But what I didn't realize is that it would open me up to a whole new, different vibration of type of person, even from a romantic standpoint. So Kiani, to your point, having a man that is a sapiosexual who, is doing his work, is working to unlearn all the bullshit that he was taught of what a man is supposed to be. I think we're in those times right now. I think the divine masculine is being activated. Shout out to Courtney and JD, Divine Masculine Activated. They have their own show on Mastermind Connect about divine masculinity. But when we start expanding our minds, expanding our horizons, and getting more knowledge of self and wisdom, we become more attractive inside and outside. So kudos to you. Now, we are down to take some questions. If you guys have some questions, please drop them in the comment box. I just want to read a couple things. Kiani is talking about a whole unicorn, LOL. Yes, men deserve to heal and be nurturing and nurtured too. Now, that's a great question. And I want to send this question over to TK, actually, the single woman in the group. Could you date a man who just started his healing journey? Or, no? What are we doing? No? Okay.
No. I respect all journeys. I would prefer someone who is a little more advanced in their journey of healing.
Okay, Courtney, what about you? Could you date a woman that just started her healing journey? Let's say she had the bells and whistles, everything that you like in a woman physically, but she just started her journey and you meet her.
No, not gonna work. Additionally, I will say not just in her journey of healing, but in her journey of understanding what she wants out of a relationship and being able to effectively communicate, that's also not going to work for me at this point. I bless the goddess on her journey of figuring that out, but I won't be able to do that with her.
All right. So, Courtney, perfect question for you, my brother. You see the question?
I do.
Boy, Justin wants to know, what is divine masculinity? And if I jump in on this, I would be stealing the thunder. But you have a show called Divine Masculinity Activated, which premieres on Mastermind Connect, I believe, once a month. Can you please explain what divine masculinity is?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, divine masculinity is any form that uplifts, supports, and embraces and does not detract, shut down, or dilute. First and foremost, what you do with it from there is your decision. Similar to manhood and womanhood, it requires a different definition from every individual. My definition of divine masculinity is the ability to fully embrace what it means to be a creator, to be a caregiver, and to be a nurturer from a masculine lens, meaning those things, Oshim, that you talked about specifically around being able to protect, provide, and absorb. I think what often gets missed is our ability to exude as well, because the masculine is very much the soil of things, right? And so a lot of times we're looking at these trees and these roots, and we think of masculinity as deep roots, and it's strong and it's solid and it's immovable. And it can be those things, but it also is the soil that nurtured all of that life force to be moved into those roots. And the other piece of it is, if you look at it like a triangle, right? I hope I'm making the right shape, right? So the left side of that triangle is femininity. The right side is masculinity. At the tip of the triangle is the oneness. And divine masculinity is the ability to be able to move through the whole spectrum of that triangle without needing to be in one part or the other. And so in essence, divine masculinity is the exact same thing as divine femininity, but just from the other end of the mirror, so to speak. It is everything that it needs to be to remain in balance and in harmony with itself.
Excellent. And that energy really unites the world. Love, peace, and personal authority. So, when we talk about masculine, even that is action, right? Mm-hmm. So, as Kiani said, I love this. She said that the goddess chooses. The goddess chooses, and a real divine masculine is not threatened by that because he understands what's happening, because he's receiving that intuitive download, right? So it's a beautiful thing, but it is a process. But I want to be very clear, not to be on this self-righteous. This is not about self-righteousness. This is just about us remembering who we used to be and who we are. And through that, your dating life will get better because communication will get better, right? Communication will get better. And I realized somebody said something to me recently. We're talking about my next topic is dating, because I don't see any questions. So please, if you guys have any questions, drop them, or I'm just going to keep going. We have a little while here. but I want to talk about dating in the age of COVID. But somebody said something to me. I said, you know, I have a type. And she looked at me and she said, well, maybe your type ain't working for you. And it blew my mind. And I said, you know what? You're right. I'm open to dating different types of women now, right? I was so fixated on a specific type. And since I've opened up my world, you know, my knowledge of self, I'm open to the idea of maybe dating my opposite, right? So this has been a very funny journey. And that leads me into dating during COVID. How has dating during COVID been? And this is going to be for the people in relationships as well, because y'all stuck at home with each other for the most part, for you that live together. But TK, have you dated during COVID thus far? And how's your experience?
I did go on a date. I'll say that. But as far as, you know, anybody going out like that. But and I wouldn't even say it was a date. It was really more like, hey, I'm gonna be at this spot. You gonna be there? And it was like, I'm gonna be here with you or without you. But dating during COVID, I think what it is, it's more so about being very intentional and being creative, because you're going to have to get creative on where and how you're going to do things, because there's restrictions on everything. And it is teaching us and showing us that there's more than one way of doing it. Like, you don't have to always go to dinner and a movie. Let's, like I said, change it up. It's really about being creative and expressing yourself. And I think somebody asked the question, well, what is divine? How is divine masculine, divine feminine? Like, you're making it, I guess they felt the comment was saying it was very earth-based. I'll say, like, to keep it divine, if you want to say that, it's just honoring your receptive and your action. So that's really what makes it divine. Everybody has feminine qualities and masculine qualities, and understanding how to be an ebb and flow with that. So just to answer that question. But get creative, people. Get creative.
Yes. Courtney, same question. Dating during COVID, can you give me your experience?
Man, listen, I would just tell everybody to give yourself and the people that you are interacting with grace. Yes, it is important to be creative, but when you are dealing with anxiety, depression, confinement, and all these other things that this environment is creating around us, it is very challenging to be creative. And so it is important to be able to honor that in yourself as well, and be able to just sometimes just have conversation and state that boundary. Like, I'm okay with communicating right now. I have some FaceTime, but that's about the extent of what I can create right now. And then allow the other person to give their response in terms of if they're willing to deal with that. I've been fortunate to be able to do both. First couple of months in quarantine, I was all mind boggled. Like, I wasn't able to do much of anything, let alone date. And the times that I did try to, it was like trying to drive a car with a boot on it. Like, it could move, but it was going to be really challenging to make that thing move.
Yeah.
And as time went on, it did get a little bit more fluid. It has gotten a little bit more fluid, but in all honesty, my life has started to take a different turn towards this time in quarantine. So I'm embracing the fact that I may not even need to date right now in that sense, and being okay with that. And at the same time, embracing that, like I said initially, around platonic intimacy, like that's been the most beautiful gift for me in quarantine, is I've met more women that I just like to communicate with. And it stops there. And there's never been more than that, maybe because of the environment, or maybe because we're just for the first time truly honoring the energy that exists between us. For me, that's been the major flex of quarantine has been platonic intimacy, like having conversations with women, and for brothers who are able to do that in a space of not making it erotic or sexual unintentionally. You can get some major downloads from these feminists. It's incredible the things that you can bounce off of them, and they give back to you. And it's truly like a birthing exercise where I'm planting these seeds and they're returning these like living things to me in the form of information and access. So that's been my experience, man. I embrace the whole platonic intimacy aspect of this time frame.
I love that, man. That's definitely been my experience, is once you move beyond a certain point as a man, where it's not just about now I'm trying to hook up with shorty and blah, 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 take it back to the whatever. And you start broadening your horizons, man, the downloads that you get from some of these goddesses and some of these women is just amazing. And you get to know them on a deeper level. And even if it doesn't go anywhere, like I said, if it just stays platonic, it allows you to grow as a man, right? Because you're taking the time to get to know somebody. Because, when we're young and we're dating, it's not really courting. It's just like, we're trying to hook up. So what you trying to do? What do you want to do? That stupid question. The women hate that when you say, well, what do you want to eat? You got to creative, be expressive, and just know who you are. So I've been just doing a lot of deep diving and just allowing myself to have those conversations that aren't just sexual or hooking up, but just on a deeper level. So I feel you, brother. We do have a question. And maybe I want to see if Kiani can answer this question. It says, since opposites attract, do you believe opposites can truly work? I believe different perspectives can help you grow, because if you are too much alike, then it could be like an echo chamber. Kiani, can you touch on that?
Sure. And I just wanted to also just really back to what Courtney said and what you said. Everything y'all are talking about, I love the platonic intimacy name to it, but it's tantra, right? It is weaving. It is the tantra basically means to weave. And so the weaving those connections. And if you haven't really delved into the tantric path, you don't know what you're missing. So anybody out there, I would tell y'all that's where you really need to go. And it will not only, we all know we're talking about dating, but it will do more to connect you with self. So as far as the opposites thing, I think that's kind of on a more third dimensional level. Fifth dimensionally, I kind of feel like what we see and what we attract is not necessarily opposites, but reflections. And so, I was talking to a girlfriend today, and the thing we were talking about manifestation, and I was like, and I'm healing, and I'm talking about why certain things I can manifest like this, and then certain other things I haven't been able to. Anyway, we were talking about our own healing in that arena, and she was saying, me neither, and blah, blah. And what we were realizing is that why we are together is as reflections of one another to heal and grow. Because basically, if you ask me, the joy and everything that comes along with this life is great, but the intention and the purpose is consciousness. So for me, I don't know where to say my healing journey began. I guess that's not really true, but we'll always be on this path. So I don't know that it's opposites necessarily attract, interest, but at the end of the day, I think it's when we reflect one another, those are the things that are binding. I don't know. I've never, maybe I couldn't have answered that question. I think, opposites, sometimes it can be cute, and it depends on what you're opposite in. I will say that. It depends on what you're opposite in, because it's cute and fun sometimes, but when you're talking about moral fiber, etc., or again, the needs that you may feel you have from a relationship. And I also must preface, well, it's after now, but I also don't have traditional views on attachment. So I really believe in connection over attachment. So for me, whether it works out at the end is not the end goal to me. So the longevity questions are probably over my head because I don't really operate that way. But yeah, so if there's something you need and the fact that the person is opposite, then no, I don't think it'll work. Is it interesting? Yeah.
Can I add to what
Go ahead, jump
Kiani
into
said?
Ken.
Oh, thank you, Kiani, for everything you said. That was actually very beautiful and point. And I want to piggyback on the opposite question. I think it really depends on knowing yourself. And I think a great way for people, or women and men, to really know yourself is identify yourself, or identify what archetype divine feminine archetype that you resonate at. Because let's say one is a dreamer and then one is a person that's very foundational on the ground, like, okay, we got to get this done, we got to do this, we got to do that. I think in that realm, opposites attract. And I would like to give, if you guys are familiar with Tabitha Brown, I just got hip to her a few months ago, but she and her husband do these podcasts or shows, whatever. But anyway, I really like their story because she was the dreamer of the group. She was the one that had the big idea, going to Hollywood, doing this. And her husband was the person who was the foundation. Like, okay, well, if you were going to be this dreamer, I'm going to be the foundation to get you to this dream. So if in that aspect, opposites attract because they're on the same path. So it's really more about, again, where you guys are going together and how you're going to do it.
Excellent. Thank you, TK. All right. So, oh, by the way, I did definitely want to mention a book on Tantra that I read that was really amazing. It's called Tantra Illuminated, The Philosophy, History, and Practice of a Timeless Tradition. It's by an author named Christopher Wallace. So definitely pick that up. I actually dropped that in the chat right now. It was a great book. I'm actually going to read it again. But let's see if we have some questions here. All right. Question to the men. Are men intimidated by women who are the breadwinners, meaning if they make more money than their men? All right, Will, can you answer that question? Can you bring that question up? Thanks. Question to them. There you go.
I think it depends on the man, but it also depends on the woman. There are some women that say, yes, I want my man to provide for me. And it also depends on how far the salary range is, right? Like if we're talking 10K, 15K more, then that's, it's negligible. But if she's making 40K more and she expects the man to provide and her tastes indicate that 40K jump and he can't provide to her taste, then that could be a problem. But I wouldn't say that they're intimidated. I think salary is not an indication of wealth. It's not an indication of financial literacy. It's just an indication of how you was able to negotiate and where you are in life. But because there's more than a person than how much they make, right? And I hate talking about it, but Tyler Perry, right? A lot of these movies are like construction workers getting with CEOs and all that stuff because they have some attraction that makes it work beyond the money. So I really don't think that men are intimidated by women who are the breadwinners.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, like if you're like Rihanna and then like you date the UPS guy, like that's probably not gonna work out. And I'm not shitting on UPS people. They got great benefits, but like there's such a lifestyle difference that they're not going to complement each other, right? It's like hop on this private jet. Like, hold up, I'm in the brown truck. So,
right, but again, money is no indication of how well they do with that money, right? Like my financial advisor tells me horror stories about folks that make 200K and they live in paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there are folks that make 60 and they have 200K in savings because they just know how to save. So it's like, it's knowing what you do with your money that is key to me, right? Like, I don't care what you make. That's just a lot of people use that as a way to show how big their balls are, but it's not about that. It's about what you do with your money, how you're spending your money, how you can make that money grow. So how you can make that 200K feel like 400K because you invested in stocks. You're doing this, you're doing that to make that money grow and not just living based on the salary. Because if you lose your job tomorrow, then what?
Well, I think you answered the question. In the interest of time, I'm going to hop to another question. Nicole asked a question. I asked a question about dating someone at the beginning of their journey. How far along would you like them to be in their healing process? And I asked a question, would you date somebody at the beginning of their healing process? So she's asking, how far along would you like them to be in their healing process? I personally think that's an individual thing, but I'll leave that question open to the group.
All right, I'll jump in to have some fun with it. Sure. So first and foremost, I would say that healing is a consistently constant process. Nobody is ever healed until you're dead. Nothing is complete until you're dead. And so in the process of where I would like for someone to be, I would like them to be at a point where they have enough mechanisms to be able to identify what part of their healing journey they are on. Are they still in a place of pain? Have they transitioned into healing yet? And have they actually experienced any aspect of growth? So first and foremost is the mechanism to be able to identify it. That's got to be there. Second, are you able to execute that mechanism in different environments? If you have healed from your childhood trauma, that is beautiful, but I'm 35 years old. You had 35 years to take care of that one. The stuff we're dealing with may take you 35 minutes sometimes to be able to effectively communicate what you're feeling, why you're feeling, and what you would like for us to do about that if you want me to be involved in that process at all. Because sometimes, especially when you are married or you have children, because I've been, I have children and I have been married, you got to be quick with what it is you really want. You got to take the time on your own to package it properly to give to the other person. And I think that's the level that I need in terms of a baseline is, do you effectively know how to package this for your partner? Mm-hmm. Have you taken the time to study them, understand them, so that what you're giving them, even though it may be challenging, it's still nurturing to them? A lot of times we can be in environments where we are empowered to communicate what we feel, but we are not held accountable to how those feelings land on the other person. And an example of this is if somebody were to come to you and say, what you did to me yesterday, it just really hurt my feelings, and I wish you wouldn't do that anymore. That is a healthy way of getting that off your chest, but it is an unhealthy way to communicate from the other person's perspective, because now they're left with that weight by themselves. You haven't even told them what something different would look like. You haven't given them any tools, yet you still expect them to have the solution or to fix something. And from my experience, that's the place where, unfortunately, the lack of divine masculinity has caused femininity to not necessarily need to embrace that brevity sometimes. And if you can get to that point where you've experienced enough of both sides, where you've seen healthy masculine energy, healthy feminine energy, then you know how important it is not to disrupt it. It's not my responsibility to make you fix me in any way. And it's not my responsibility to fix you in any way. But if we are in harmony with one another for a time period, then it is our desire to be of benefit to the other person. And I think that starts with taking the time to know when you're at a level of healing that allows you to effectively communicate.
Thank you, Courtney. So I want to definitely be clear. This is not a judgment of people who are starting their healing journey, because if you are just starting your healing journey, you are brave, and I commend you, and you deserve to be loved. But as Courtney said, there are some people who are just farther in different places. They're farther along, and maybe you shouldn't disrupt their peace because you're just starting, right? You're just starting. It doesn't make that individual better than you. It doesn't make you lesser. It just means that you are at different places. And once you develop that communication style, you can really understand where people are, in their journeys. I had a situation with a young woman who, I know what she wanted out of a relationship. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to be able to provide that for you. As much as I'm physically attracted to you, I'm mentally attracted to you. I cannot give you what you want right now. So me stringing you along would do a disservice to you and me. And I would just be, perpetuating trauma for you that you already got over. So, there's an emotional intelligence here that you start developing when you're on this journey, and you'll get there. Because I just wanted to answer some of the questions from some of the brothers in the group. That question: how can someone really judge how far an individual is in their healing journey? All right. I think I answered that question. So, guys, we're about to wrap it up now. I just want to read one more question. Was a shot or just I saw a question here. And thank you so much, guys. This is I picked the right group of people. You guys are so enlightening. Okay, no, I think I answered that question. Perfect. But guys, thank you so much for being a part of the premiere of Blvck Roses. This has been a great experience. All of you are just so amazing on a soul level. You are on all different journeys, in your romantic lives, but we were all on the same page today, and I loved it. So, Will, I want to say, first of all, congratulations to your engagement. I love that. I love hearing about love. Your engagement photos are amazing. It warms my heart to see it. Will, we're going to give you guys a chance right now to just, if you have anything to promote, you want to share your Instagram names, please do so, websites. So Will, I'll let you go first.
Sure. So you can find me on all social media as Poetic Sigma. I am a spoken word artist. I also am an entrepreneur, G&Co Apparel. So my hat, Dapper by Nature, is from G&Co Apparel. We also do subscription boxes of men's suiting accessories. If you need your resumes, cover letters, mock interview prep, all that done, reach out to me as well. I help with that as well. And I also run a mentoring program for high school students. So if you have a high school male and if you would like to get involved in my program, it's called the Dream 100 program, please let me know. Thanks again for allowing us to have this forum, and I'm looking forward to more of these.
Absolutely, man. This is the first one. We're getting it in. So Kiani, same with you. I know you are a woman of many talents. So please plug away where we can find you, where we can follow you, where we can reach you.
I say this in all humility and love, but literally, I right now during COVID am just really focused on getting my son to pass first grade. So I'm not doing much work right now, but hopefully as we exit this, then, we do, I'll have a different answer for you guys.
We'll be here, and, any support you need, we will give it. TK Divine, I know you have a new project, and I want you to talk about this new project that you have just launched.
Yes, thank you. So thank you for having me. I want to leave everybody with something. I put this link in the private chat, but it's a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And it's audio version, so it's on YouTube. I really want everyone to take time and listen to this audio book and really expand our understanding of really how to create and live the life you want. Because just reading the comments from some people, I haven't been a date in 3 years, I haven't done this, and I haven't done that. And I totally get it, but to help you shift your paradigm, they dropped the link in the comment section. So if you guys want to check out, it's called the Game of Life and How to Play It. But also I am hosting I'm a sacred facilitator. I'm hosting a sacred online temple for women to come together and just not so much just healing, but to connect and build intimacy with other women. The whole purpose of this is to heal the sister wound among women. And so I'll be launching this 5-week course starting on the 29th of November. So you can find more information about that on my Instagram and my Facebook as Tahiri Divine. So I'll drop that in the link too. So if you're interested in connecting with women and going through the journey of the goddess, through the archetypes of the goddess, ladies, you can definitely find me on my social sites for that. And thank you guys for having me here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. Is that by Florence Scovel Shin?
It sure is.
Yes, she is absolutely brilliant. Guys, I know when people make suggestions, people could go in one ear and right out the other. This book this summer definitely changed my life. So TK, thank you. She also has a book called Your Word is Your Wand. So the things that you're saying, you're speaking from a place of lack, is why you can't get the things that you want. So she's an amazing metaphysician, and thank you for that suggestion, TK. That was brilliant. My brother Courtney, last and not least.
All right. So you can find me right there. Well, this way on the social media at Courtney Grange. I am similar to Kiani. I'm trying to get a 5-year-old through pre-K4. So I'm not doing too much. One thing that I am doing right now is just doing more communicating and talking to people, especially brothers, because there is a lot that we need to expose each other to. And so I'll start there. My wellness center that I run here in Alexandria, Virginia, the Zen Cave. We're going to be hosting Zen Talks every Friday and Sunday to just bring people on, have nutritious conversations, especially with brothers, so we can just get into dialogues like this more frequently. I will plug one book just to be in the know. The Multi-Orgasmic Man. As Kiani talked about Tantra, before you try to exercise Tantra, good brothers, understand yourself and how to maintain your sacred seed. You don't want to get into a tantric environment where the woman who has been elevated and you have not, it will change your experience. But this book, more specifically by Montauk Chia, The Multi-Orgasmic Man, will literally not only break down the construct of sacred seed technology, but it will give you step-by-step instructions on how to start practicing this for yourself and moving it into a space where you really will change your life. I've experienced it for the past year and a half, and I will tell you when we get onto these Zen talks more about it. So catch me there at the Zen Cave _ for all things Zen and wellness.
Man, listen, we could be on here another hour, but we ain't gonna do it.
Can I just say, Courtney, I did not know you were so close to me.
He is.
Oh,
Same area. So we need to
go work that out. Yep.
A wellness collective of color for professionals of color dedicated to people of color. So let's talk. There are many. So.
Yeah, and I want to say, Kudu, we actually did a live about sacred seed technology, and some of the benefits. Just really quickly for me, when I started to go down that lane, it taught me everything about self-discipline, man. And it's not just sex, just self-discipline. And for this hypersexualized society that we live in, it's key. Is key. So definitely pick that book up, guys. There are a lot of great book suggestions, a lot of great audio book suggestions. Look in the comment section and just copy and paste and save it for later. But once again, I want to thank all my panelists, and I want to give some shout outs to the Mastermind Connect. And the Mastermind Connect is a men's group that helps men reach their higher passions, their goals, and connect to their community. I'm one of the founders, and Courtney's a member, Will's a member. It is a national group. So if you are interested in being a part of a group of supportive men who are like-minded and will lift you up in spirit, but also tell you about your shit when you need your shit told about, join the mastermindconnect.com. They have an amazing online community and app that you can be active in. So it is just a brilliant platform. I'm not just saying that because I'm one of the founders. And I want to give a shout out to Manny Almonte, who has been on his production thing on the back end. Thank you very much. He's one of the founders as well. There you go. Sneaking in. And I want to thank everybody from the Rebel Camp. It still blows my mind every day how quickly this thing is growing. It's where I met Kiani. It's where I met TK. Extremely brilliant woman. And I want to, once again, just say thank you and gratitude. So Blvck Roses, this is going to be a monthly show, I believe, Manny. Yeah, we're going to do this monthly. Sir. We're going to do this monthly, and we're going to have different types of guests every month, but it's going to be sort of in the same topic, sex, love, and romance, and all things surrounding that. So where you can follow me, let me plug myself, is at Oshim Phoenix on Instagram, or you could just follow and subscribe to the Rebel Camp across all platforms. So thank you, guys. Go watch that Gucci Mane and Jeezy battle. It's probably still going.